Welcome back to the channel. Spider-Man No Way Home has finally come out. And back in June, before we had a trailer or anything, I put out a video which was essentially me creating a bingo card of predictions of things that might happen in the movie. That is before any trailers came out. We were just going off of speculation and off of rumors from the set and everything. And so, yeah, I haven't gone back and watched this video since it came out. And I do remember a couple of the bets that I put in there. But I don't remember everything. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video and see if I was able to get any bingos. There will be spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, and so you've been warned. It's just pretty much going to all be spoilers from here on out. You can check out my spoiler-free review on the channel if you haven't seen the movie yet and are curious as to what I think. Spoilers for that review, I liked it a lot. So let's get to it. All right. First things I just got to point out. Look at how short my hair is. And I thought my hair was super long back then. But it just keeps on growing. All right. My free space. Something that I'm like, give yourself on your free space something completely like this is what's going to happen. And for me, what I came up with was the movie will end with a censored F-bomb. That did not happen. The censored F-bomb is my free space. Consider that one golden. Okay, so I did say that the movie would end with a censored F-bomb. I don't get that square because the movie does not end with it. It starts with it, the same one that we ended the last movie with, but I'm not going to be giving myself that square. So that could really be messing up a lot of potential bingos. My first thing I want to put on the list is Venom. Will Venom show up? So with this one, I saw Venom 2 in theaters. They show that he's going to be in it. So I was feeling real good about this from the beginning. And then I was very happy with the amount of Venom that was in Spider-Man No Way Home. Like barely any at all. Just in that end credit scene. It was a funny scene, not overused. The tone of Venom is so much different than the Spider-Man movies in the MCU as a whole. And so I'm excited for what it sets up with the potential of the symbiote suit coming in to play for Spider-Man. So I do get to give myself this one on that bingo card. We're just going to get some out of the way that I don't think will happen at all. The next one being Morbius. Do I believe Morbius will show up? Thankfully, no Morbius in the movie. I'm happy to not get that square. Now, one big rumor going around with this movie is that it's going to have a lot to do with like kind of multiple dimensions and everything. And so with that, people are speculating, hey, maybe we'll have more than one Spider-Man in this movie. Maybe people who have played him in the past will come back and be him in this movie, like along with Tom Holland. Huh? Yeah. So we've had two people play Spider-Man in live action films before Tom Holland took over with the MCU, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Okay. So I'm going to put both of them on my bingo chart. I'm going to put Tobey Maguire right here. I forgot that I used that picture. That's very funny. Lining up this way because he'd be my number one choice. This is where I'm going. This is my money. That free spot really did not help me out. And I pick him over Andrew Garfield because Andrew Garfield has like straight up said like, I'm not in this movie. He's just lying though. But, you know, the MCU has lied before. And so, you can't trust him. Let's put another speculation one because, you know, going into other dimensions. Will Emma Stone show up as Gwen Stacy? Or maybe we'll even get a Spider-Gwen situation. I'm glad she didn't because you get that super fun moment. Or good, it's just a heartwarming moment where he actually gets to save Mary Jane. And so, or not Mary Jane, but Michelle, MJ. That's one of my favorite emotional notes in the whole movie. Now, one person who has said that they're like in this movie and has even said like, yeah, I'm playing this character, which is really, I think, where a lot of people are getting hope, is Alfred Molina, who played Doc Ock. And I'm going to put him here and then put here in my hopefully a sure thing line. That censored F-bomb is really going to be the end of my bingos. I think it'd be awesome. Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock is one of my favorites. Doc Ock is still my favorite. I love that we get good and bad Doc Ock in the movie. The next one I'm going to line up here with Andrew Garfield is Jamie Foxx as Electro. The movie is not my favorite. Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's not good. I'm sorry, people who like it, but I don't like Amazing Spider-Man 2. But, I think that if they're given a different direction, Jamie Foxx could do some cool stuff. I do like Jamie Foxx in this movie, though. I think he's good. And as much as like those two guys are exciting, to me, like the most exciting one would be if we had a Norman Osborn situation. And he's like the biggest bad guy of the whole movie, and I'm super happy about that. I think this movie has the potential to really let down some fans who let their imagination get away from them, which is when, like, even though we look at this, we set it up, yeah, it's fun to think about what could happen. When you actually sit down and watch the movie, you need to just kind of like let whatever happen. Luckily, this movie did not, I think, disappoint very many people at all when it comes to, their expectations of what might actually happen. So we have one more Spider-Man movie that they could try to incorporate if they do go with this alternate dimensions situation. And I'm wondering, will they try to make the Spider-Verse show up? Will there be like a Spider-Verse Easter egg or anything like that? No Spider-Verse, which is unfortunate, but I think it would have been too much. It's still a possibility down the line. One thing that has potential is Spider-Man's best friend, Ned. And so Ned, his full name is Ned Leeds. And in the comics, Ned Leeds is a character who eventually becomes a supervillain called the Hobgoblin. And so people are speculating maybe he's going to become a bad guy. Not in this movie, but there's some pretty funny jokes tied to it. How much do I think this could actually happen? This one is, maybe more likely Spider-Man has a history of having to fight people who are close to him. I'm still holding out for it to happen. Plus, he's got those magic powers now. Got another one for my almost a sure thing list. Charlie Cox as Daredevil or Matt Murdock. There it is. I'm not going to need him to put on the suit, actually, to get this one for myself. If he just shows up as a lawyer. Perfect, man. Nailed that one. And so it might be fun to kind of see him get, figure out how he would fit into all this. He's reported to have been on set. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. These MCU actors could just show up on set to visit and see what's going on at any point. And so even if he was there, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be in the movie. But again, with where we found Spider-Man at the end of the last film, being kind of like, a wanted vigilante, maybe he's going to need a lawyer, and maybe Matt Murdock could be that lawyer. I'm very happy that he showed up, and I'm happy with the potential of what might come to be with him showing up, and then with Vincent D'Onofrio being Kingpin in Hawkeye. So, yeah. Speaking of the end of the last Spider-Man movie, J. Jonah Jameson showed up and was played by the same actor who had played him in the Sam Raimi series, J.K. Simmons. And so it isn't so much will J. Jonah Jameson show up in this movie, but how many J. Jonah Jamesons will show up? Just the one.
You serious?
I was serious. Now, one of the few things we do know for sure is that Doctor Strange is going to be in this movie. And that's where, a lot of the speculation comes from with the different dimensions and all that stuff. So my guess when it comes to Doctor Strange is, will he be the new, mentor figure? Will he berate Spider-Man in this movie? Yes. Will there be a scene where he tells Peter, you don't understand, blah, 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 like Iron Man? Yes, there is, totally. That's all he does in the whole movie. He calls him a kid even. Nailed it on that one. Another one I hope to see is the Vulture. We'll get him. His last scene in the movie he was in, Spider-Man Homecoming, actually has him talking with another supervillain, Matt Gargan, who is Scorpion. They'll show up eventually. The last living MCU character that I'm going to put on the list of who might show up in the film is going to be Wanda Maximoff from, WandaVision, the Scarlet Witch, because she is confirmed to be in the next Doctor Strange movie. And so with her being in Doctor Strange, will she be in this? Maybe even just as a post-credits scene. Barely. I don't know if you can count it as the movie. Okay. So this one we do have to think about. Do we count the Doctor Strange trailer as showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home? The trailer has been released by itself online at this point, so that means that Marvel's not really counting it as part of the movie, but it was in the theater. I'm still salty about losing the F-bomb one, so I'm going to give it to myself, and you can argue about how wrong I am in the comments. There are a couple characters from the MCU who have died that I do think we could still see with new footage. Nothing new from any of these people. These are all busted. So I want to start off with the one I think is the most likely, and that's Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck. Just got him in the beginning, just reusing the audio and everything from the last one. But, lots of talk of Mysterio. Mysterio was right. I also would not be surprised if we saw Tony Stark in this movie in some way. Now, to say this next one is a character is not accurate. A person, Stan Lee, has had cameos in like every Spider-Man movie ever. As one of the creators of Spider-Man, it makes sense for him to show up in all of these movies. And so I do believe that we will have a Stan Lee cameo of some type. Nothing new from Stan Lee, and that's probably for the better, just to let him be. Though there is a little Easter egg talking about his birthday, and so just his birth date is in there on a taxi cab. And that's the level of stuff they should be doing with Stan Lee at this point. Let him rest in peace. Now, a character who is dead that we have not met in the MCU yet is Uncle Ben. In fact, some Spider-Man fans have been, kind of upset, like, Spider-Man cares too much about Tony Stark. Why isn't he doing what he's doing because of what happened to Uncle Ben? And so for that reason, and with the, the alternate universe and everything, I think this could be a good time for us to, meet Uncle Ben. No Uncle Ben. In fact, Aunt May is the Uncle Ben of the MCU. I think that Spider-Man will clear his name by the end of the movie, that he will no longer be sought for the death of Quentin Beck. Does that mean that people's memories are erased or whatever? Maybe. Okay, we have to talk about this one real quick too, because legally he is cleared of having murdered Quentin Beck. So I think that we give him this one. Like, there's the people who think that he's still responsible, but that's going to happen no matter what. And so I think I might give myself this one. It doesn't matter because that's center square, but I can give myself this one. It happens in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. We're talking a lot about portals and alternate dimensions, and so I'm going to, right here underneath Doctor Strange, going to put the idea that Spider-Man will go to another dimension in this movie, like another universe, not just have stuff from other universes come here, but he will actually go to a world that is different than our world or the world of the MCU. So my choice of words there means I could give myself this one if I really wanted to. I'm not going to, because it's not what I meant. But when I said dimension, Spider-Man does go to a different dimension. He goes to the mirror dimension when he's fighting Doctor Strange, but that's not what I meant. And so that one, I can't give myself that. Now I'm going to put something on this list that normally you wouldn't think would happen in a Spider-Man movie, especially with a Spider-Man so young, who obviously they want to keep using. And that is that a Spider-Man will die. But because we think there could be more than one Spider-Man in this movie, it's something that, is maybe a little more likely. I thought for a second we were going to have a dead Spider-Man, but no dead Spider-Man. And last but not least, we look at all the movie villains that we could see in here. We got Electro, we got the Green Goblin, we got Dr. Octopus, we got the Vulture, we got Scorpion, maybe Ned turns into a bad guy. Mysterio is there. Either way, we're over 6, and that means that the possibility of a Sinister Six, when all of Spider-Man's villains kind of team up to fight him together because they realize they haven't ever been able to beat him by themselves. So no Sinister Six in this movie either. I almost am happy that they didn't do it. They took up one from each one of the movies from the other series, but I am glad that they just kind of maybe save 6 for later, so we can get a Sinister Six that's just entirely MCU bad guys. That would be a lot of fun if that'll happen eventually. All right. Well, I did not do as well as I thought I might have going in. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of with that potential 25. So I didn't even crack half on that. And I was so close to a bingo, though, with that middle one. If I just had a different center square, I would have hit that. And it was the one I was so sure. I was so sure. If I step away from the bingo card, am I glad they didn't do it? I feel like, well, just the end in general. I love the end of this movie and where it leaves Peter Parker as a character. And so I'll sacrifice my bingo card to let that be how the movie ends. Plus, Spider-Man in the snow looks super cool. Just like in the Miles Morales game. Snow Spider-Man, good stuff. So yeah, when it comes to this thing as a whole, I'd say, based on when I made it, I'm happy with it. I called some things that, were, not exactly like known for sure. Things that, people were genuinely surprised and excited when they happened and were revealed in trailers later. The things that didn't happen that I thought might happen, I'm not upset about. Like the Ned thing. I think Ned still has a lot of potential to become a bad guy down the line. Super glad Morbius is not in the movie. Is bad enough that he was in a trailer before this movie. I'm just really not looking forward to that one. Again, glad with the Sinister Six that we're waiting a bit, maybe for that to happen down the road. They are setting that up in the MCU itself. Yeah, I think it's all. I'm happy with it. Super stoked that we got Daredevil. Super cool redemptions for both Jamie Foxx as Electro, like him being an actually decent villain, and with Andrew Garfield, his Spider-Man. He's just not my favorite, but I loved him in this movie. He was probably the funniest out of the three of them, and I just enjoyed his character. But seeing Toby back in the suit also was just so awesome. And them just being okay with him being old, and the moments that they had connecting with different characters that they had seen before, especially Dr. Octopus and Toby and Peter, when they had their little talk at the end. I just really, really, really enjoyed it, because Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is probably my favorite comic book movie villain ever. Sinister, evil, but then also still good, and you can feel justified about his redemption. So yeah, that's all good. I didn't ever hear about anybody making another bingo card, but if you did, let me know how yours turned out, or what was a prediction that you thought would happen that didn't happen, or the biggest thing you're happy that did happen in this movie. Yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff. Let me know if there's any movies coming out down the line that I should predict what might happen in that. I'd be happy to do another bingo card for something. So with all that being said, thanks for checking in on this video and seeing how we did with our predictions, about 6 months ago. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Because of you, we've hit our goal of 250 subscribers already. So let's just keep on powering through. Appreciate everything that you guys do, especially the comments, and especially the comments that call me things like pumpkin face. And so, yeah, keep it up.